konnichiwa, and welcome back to the Osanshow. My name is Anissa, and I'm the host of this podcast. In this show, we talk about some of the 90,000 different species of animals that we have here in Japan. So, if you like animals and you like Japan, this is the perfect podcast for you. ぜひ聞いてください。In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the cutest bird in Japan, arguably the cutest bird in the entire world, and that is the Shima Enaga. So the Shima Enaga is actually, I don't want to say just a subspecies, but it's a subspecies of the long-tailed tit, which can be found in several parts of the world. And it can be found throughout the Palearctic, which covers the entire of Europe and Central Asia and also to Siberia. So these birds can actually be found in a lot of places across the world. However, what makes them special is that the subspecies that exists only in Hokkaido in Japan, which is not all of Japan. Hokkaido is the northernmost part of Japan. This subspecies actually looks different to the normal long-tailed tits that can be found in other areas of Japan. And this is because they don't have this black eyebrow that the normal species of long-tailed tits would have. They actually just have this white face with these black wings and yellow eyelids, which makes them so cute. They're actually known as the snow fairy in Hokkaido, or Hokkaido snow fairy. So you can see why. If you look at the photos of them, they are absolutely adorable, and especially when they move in the trees, they literally look like little snowballs, which is why they are the cutest birds in the world. And so these birds are actually insectivores, which means, you can guess from the name, but they only eat insects and sometimes a little bit of fruit. So they usually feed on the eggs of butterflies and moths in particular, but also as the winter, as it starts to go into spring, damaged trees, the sap from the damaged trees starts to starts to come out of the trees. So as the sap comes out from the trees, it actually melts into these like icicles, and the birds do feed on that because sugar in the natural world is very rare. So it's a really rare chance for these birds and a really high energy source for them. So that's why they feed on sap icicles as well. And so these birds are actually the most popular in the winter time, and that's actually because the shape of the birds is different to what it would be in other times of the year. So as these birds, they live in very cold environments, right? So much like other birds, they puff out their feathers, and as they puff out the feathers, this kind of makes like a round kind of ball shape. And the reason why they do this is actually for insulation. So this is the same in humans, because if we think about a feather, as the feather opens, the air can go into the feather, and then the feather closes, and then that kind of traps this air in between these feathers, which creates an insulating layer, which helps keeps the birds warm. This is exactly what humans do when we shiver, right? So if we shiver and the hair sticks up on our arm, and this is having the same thing. The hair sticks up, and then the air goes in, and then it kind of traps the air, and then this actually helps keep us warm as well. So this is why if you type Shima Enaga, most of the photos of them are extremely like round, like snowballs, and this is why, because they're puffing up their feathers. Also, if you can't tell, today's outfit is also inspired by Shima Enaga, and literally, like, this could be Shima Enaga, honestly. It could be. If you go to Hokkaido as well, there's actually a high chance that you can see one of these birds. The best time to actually see them is March, because as the spring starts, they start moving into the deeper mountains. so it's actually quite hard to see them. So I would recommend you go to Hokkaido in around March if you want to see these birds. You can see them on forest trails, on hiking trails, and there's also eco tours available if you want a more like professional experience. Also, like we talked about in our last video, Japan does have some dangerous animals, and a lot of the dangerous animals exist in Hokkaido, and I am talking about the Hokkaido brown bear, the Usuri brown bear. So if you do decide to go on a hiking route or a trail, please do be careful of these brown bears. So that might be a good idea for you if you want to go and see these birds. Maybe actually just go with a tour guide, a nature guide who knows what they're doing. That's just my recommendation. So yeah, you can look more into it if you're interested. If you do see these birds though, they actually exist in flocks apart from during the breeding season of around 20 birds. So if you go, then you can probably see a good number of these birds. And you can probably hear them before you see them because they have this really high-pitched call. So look out for the call, and then you can probably find the birds as well. Okay, next, why are these birds so popular in Japan? Actually, they weren't always popular here. The boom only started in around 2016, and it started from a photo book called Shima Enaga-chan, which showed the birds nesting and also their chicks. And honestly, photo books in general, they're not very popular. And this, honestly, this is because we have the internet, right? So why would people buy photo books when you have the internet? But actually, this was extremely popular, this book, when like so many people bought copies of the book. It was just so popular. And this started a boom of Shima Enaga in Japan. So most places or most shops you go to in Japan, you can see Shima Enaga products. So there's like towels, there's also like bowls, there's snacks, there's literally anything that you can imagine to have Shima Enaga on it, these birds on it, they will have the birds on it. And honestly, I am no different from the masses. So of course I have a Shima Enaga product. So this is Shima Enaga ramen bowl. You can see it has many Shima Enaga. It says Hungary, tonkatsu shio miso shoyu, which is different types of ramen. So probably if you come to Japan, you can see some products like this. So I recommend you buy one of these or order them online. They're very cute. So as for the conservation status of these birds, honestly, I'm not concerned about them, and the IUCN Red List is not concerned because they are listed as least concerned on the IUCN Red List. And in our previous episodes, we talked about the habu snake, and that's also least concerned. But for me, it's concerning because I'm always a little bit concerned about kind of ugly animals in general, and not very cute animals because people don't like them, especially habu, because they're dangerous. So people would rather just make them extinct. So there's actually no research into the population numbers, and people definitely didn't know want to conserve them. But for Shima Enaga, they're so cute, and there is actually been some population studies being done about them. So they are actually least concerned this time. So yeah, the conservation is okay, probably. Shima Enaga also has a place in folklore in Japan as well, and it's all positive, which is great. Basically everything about these birds is positive because they have these really white feathers. This is associated with innocence and purity. So there are also motifs of these birds at festivals and rituals. These birds are also said to have like a gentle nature, so they're also associated with good relationships, interpersonal relationships. So basically everything about them is positive. So that's great for these birds. And that brings us to the end of the first episode of the Osanshow on camera. Yeah, this is a little bit different from what we usually do here, because usually it's just me talking, just audio recording. So the video recording is a little bit different, but honestly it's fun. I'm enjoying it. And how did you guys enjoy it? How do you feel about Shima Enaga? Did you enjoy learning about these birds? For me personally, yeah, I love them so much, so it's really fun to learn about them. And I hope if you come to Japan you can see one of these birds, and if you have any questions about them, please message on Instagram or send me an email. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the episodes of Osanshow on camera. So yeah, let me know what you thought, and let's meet in the next video. ここまで聞いてくださってありがとうございました。また次の動画でお会いしましょう。バイバイ。